Hey guys, it's Matt and Alex of Building the Dream. Today we're here with Lloyd Fisher of Lloyd Fisher Photography. Lloyd, can you start us off with 2 interesting facts about yourself?
Number one, well, I'd have to say that being an outdoorsman as I am, hiking the Superior Hiking Trail was really a good check off my list. Growing up in Duluth, seeing what we have and the main attractions, and then hiking along the trail that everyone drives the highway, but when you hike along the shoreline and you take it took me a month. That was a really eye-opening experience to not only my personal fitness, but also just the beauty and the relaxation and calm that you can find just spending long amounts like away from the city and the busyness.
For a month.
Totally, it was Casa Day backpack for a month, so I really enjoyed that. Number two is like a spiral, and that actually came before I did the SHT, and I went on a trip to Thailand just before I turned 20. So, I mean, I was still pretty young there.
Big learning experience.
It sure was, man.
Yourself.
And I mean, and I've been I've grown up a single child, so I've always had that natural independence, but that was really a next. Okay, you're
actually living on your own.
correct. And I went there with 2 other guys, and we like collaborated in the beginning, the middle, and the end together. But a big part of that trip was just, picking where I where like Lloyd wants to go, rather than seeing the typical tourist stuff or whatnot.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Bringing my photography to that side of the world. Really understanding how our Western society is similar yet different in how capitalism works in other countries. Just seeing how friendly the people were there, and then coming back, it really gave me a new perspective and appreciation, total gratitude for how wonderful this is. Basically, we're in heaven on earth if we can see that way. I think because I grew up a skateboarder, and part of that part of that learning experience and subculture is kind of rebellious against I'm wearing a suit, and I actually bought this in Thailand, which is a fun fact. Yeah, $200, and it's ridiculous.
Dang.
Yeah, there's deals.
Nice for a $200 suit.
That's what I'm saying, man. So, but really developing an appreciation for what we have here in America and in Duluth, Minnesota specifically. I mean, the lake is incredible. It's fresh water. You can go swim in there, and I mean, that's my fun facts. It really just kind of highlights my love for nature and just my love to get after it and explore new life experiences.
I love that attitude.
For sure, all about learning and just growing in life. Finding the next level of myself, pretty much.
Awesome, man.
Yeah,
awesome.
man.
So let's talk about your business, what you actually do, and then kind of your niche and what specifically, what type of photography you are into.
Mm-hmm. So I run Lloyd Fisher Photo. I've been doing this for realistically 10 years, more repetitively the past 5 years.
Yeah. How old are you?
I'm currently, I have to think.
Are you sure?
Exactly. Let me check.
A couple years in Thailand.
Up here in this brain here, it says I'm 24 years old. My birthday is on June 4th. I mean, and that's one of the things about myself. Like I said, growing up single child, I just kind of I feel almost as if I feel like I'm older than I am at times.
Pretty fast.
Yeah, I had to kind of grow up and okay, this is the world. But I like that. Adversity builds strong people for sure. So yeah. Anyway, Lloyd Fisher Photo. It's basically full service. Everything from I love weddings. I love doing real estate. I love doing family portraits. I love doing grad portraits. Really, it's what Lloyd Fisher Photo is, in a nutshell, is me taking the craft that I've mastered from learning at a young age, and it's bringing this to what the community has to offer. And these guys are in this beautiful loving marriage. These guys are selling this beautiful home. How can I share that home with the world? Recently I shot with a realtor, and just the feel. Oh, there's another story. With this realtor, the home was sold the first day. It's like, oh, I'm like, that's heartwarming, because it's like, okay, the client like found, like it translated, and I mean, like, for sure, like that's a part of it, but I was just super happy to make that happen. The other kind of heartfelt story that I have on Lloyd Fisher Photo is recently shooting Grandma's Marathon. I was down in the press booth, and Bones is his nickname, the winner of the past marathon. Like he gets to the finish, and he's like a total, like he's an Olympian. Like he's on that track. Yep. And so seeing him like bend down and do like the whole like, oh man. And then just like he reached out on Instagram after I posted those photos, and he's like, hey, that means the world to me. And I'm like, really, that's what it's all about for me at this point in life. You know, it's just taking what I know, what I'm great at, and sharing that with the world. And you know, how can we collaborate? It's just a game of that, really, for me. And it's just what I love to do.
So when did you find out that photography was your passion, and how did you format a business around it? For a lot of people, it's hard to turn what really makes them happy into something that makes them money. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so a lot of it was honestly patience for the most part. When I found photography was my thing, and video as well. Growing up in skateboarding, we would always document our progress. So that's really where it started, as well as nature too. You know, it's just me and the dog, you know, finding cool spots, and you take the spot home with a picture. Mm-hmm. What was the second part of that question?
How did you format your passion into making you money? How did you build a business framework around what you love to do?
Mm-hmm. So really the empathy, like the biggest part is like, what I'm working towards is basically just networking with people that do similar things that I do, and then you know, combining our talents and abilities, like clothing companies, for example. You know, there's some great, just different products and services that, you know, that I love to market and promote, and just like help people sell. It's really it's been a learning experience. I've taught myself, you know, everything from web design to you know, the analytics and like all the back stuff of the business stuff, and that's like a continuous learning experience. But it really is, at the end of the day, networking, learning new things, meeting new people, and that's really where you know, that's where my clients are, is just, you know, seeing who's in the community, who's doing the most good, who's you know, doing beautiful things, and then like let's make some art together. You know, that's really what it comes down to.
Absolutely, man. So you said you've been basically doing this for 10 years, so you've seen
Right.
a lot of things. How have you grown as a person along with your business?
It's a great question. I would say that the growth in my business and the growth in my personal development is simultaneous, for sure.
Yeah. As you get better, you learn more. And it just goes hand in hand.
Certainly.
And as a solo entrepreneur, what you do is a direct reflection of your business.
Correct. Yeah, it is personal branding. Realistically, there's I was going to say 1 million photographers, but that's probably off. I'm sure there's close to 1 billion photographers in the U.S., you know?
Now that everyone has a smartphone with a camera.
Yeah, it's technology. Exactly. And like technology is super, you know, it's always growing. Everyone has the technology, so everyone has access to it. The reason I brand myself a master photographer is because I've mastered the fundamentals, what each setting does. And from that point, it's this game of creating beautiful, both images, like the end product, but also back to that community and, you know, what can we create together. So, you know, mastering the fundamentals of the science of it. The technology will keep growing, and, you know, there's subtle things to keep learning. But at the end of the day, it's really, I'm just on my mission to, you know, serve the community. That's really what it is at this point. And as my personal, like I probably wouldn't have said that 5 years ago,
No.
and it goes along with personal development, certainly.
Gotcha. So what aspects of this business bring you the most joy? Why do you get out of the bed in the morning and want to go take pictures or document special days for people?
I think the big part of it is sharing. There's certainly a part of it that's like how I'm setting up my life is so that I can, get out and just go spend more time in the woods with my dog when it comes down to it. But at the same time, it is that it's what gets me up and out of bed is that phone call I get when a client's super happy and it's like, just like an extra thank you. Yeah, and just like the weddings, like those are magic.
Yeah.
You guys, like weddings are just like everyone's is a little bit different, everyone's is a little bit fun, and it's just you're just part of the experience and capturing it, just really having the I'm just very grateful to capture those experiences, to share with my clients, what I can produce and what I do produce with the skill that I have.
And being on the other side of the lens, I recently got married last year.
Yeah,
and
congratulations.
Thank you. The day went by so fast, I didn't even know what was going on. It
Yeah.
wasn't until I looked through the pictures
Exactly.
that I was able to relive those moments and experience how special of a day it was.
That's an interesting
So-
perspective. It's what it is, man. You're on a rush. I can only, you're to that next stage of life. I'm happy for you, and I
Thank
can
you.
only imagine what that day is like. So, absolutely, man.
People like you make it easier.
Right on. That's what it is. We're here to serve, for
So-
sure.
So you've been working on this now for a pretty long time. Like,
Mhm.
For me personally, like I look at a tree and it's like, okay, that's a tree.
Yeah.
But like, where does the vision come from? Like, how do you see where to take like?
Yeah. The
Picture,
composition, everything.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
It's motion and it's it's the compositions. Literally, like I've grown up as that little boy in the woods running around with the dog. Like I'd literally do this, just like, oh yeah.
Good job.
And then it's like you subconsciously learn composition and through taking, like I've taken courses at LSC and like the fundamentals of photography and stuff like that. And so and as well as all the online stuff that you learn. But it really, the evolution of it, some people say that some people just have an eye. I think that when you learn, there's like a visual math to it that I find, and again, it's just part of mastering those fundamentals, bringing in flash, where is the shadows that you need to fill with flash, just technical stuff.
And I'm sure your track record helps figure out some kind of stuff where you compare
Yeah.
your pictures now to when you first started. I'm sure you can see a major evolution.
Absolutely, and in different genres too. Like a few years past, was really heavy into skateboarding photography and setting up multiple flashes. And what I learned through that translated so beautifully into weddings because I could create these almost billboard style like eye popping flash looking images. But then it's just someone's personal moment that they're sharing with their loved family, So it's just it's a journey that continues to amaze me, really. Yeah.
With the spectrum of things that you've shot, what in this current moment is your most favorite thing to take pictures of?
It's a hard question to answer because there's so many
Everything
things,
that
of course.
looks good.
Yeah. Every day brings a new thing. Really, at this point in life, I'm just I'm focused a lot on physical fitness. A lot. Skateboarding is a fundamental part of that because I've been doing that for 15 years or something crazy like that. I actually ride for Damage Board Shop here in town on their skate
congrats.
team. Yeah, so that's been really fun to be a part of that skate industry, and that continues to evolve. Running, biking, really, I think that is what it is. When I'd have to pick a favorite, it's the extreme sports, and especially what Duluth has to offer here. It's been great growing up with like Spirit Mountain, not only the mountain biking now, but skiing, snowboarding, the fundamentals there. Really motion, but then at the same time, like I can be super, and I am super happy when I'm just out in nature, like, and I find like a wild deer or a bear, and I'm just hanging out with a long lens in the woods, you know, taking portraits of it.
Yeah.
But at the same time, you know, being in big groups of people, shooting weddings, you know, real estate. It just depends on the day, man.
Yeah.
Really. But I just continue to be grateful for the beautiful place we live, and just continue to produce my best. That's what it is. Yeah.
Yeah, that's awesome. So, on the other side of that, is there anything that you don't enjoy shooting, or like your least favorite?
Sure.
Don't call anybody.
Yeah,
out.
I'm just gonna.
Oh, the Johnson's wedding was awful.
Or if it makes it
There's that one thing. I'm just kidding.
What's your least favorite
I almost.
part of the business?
Sure.
If it's not of the photography. If
Sure.
You love it all.
Yeah.
You know, I almost said bugs, because there's a couple bugs flying around, and at times when I like, I'll come down, you know, to you know, along the North Shore, and you know, photographers love to shoot sunrise, and so sometimes that can be a part of it, especially in July. But you know, every challenge I see is just another thing to conquer.
Yeah.
At the end of the
That's a good way to look at it.
yeah, I mean, just having a growth mindset, I found, is the only way to continue in life. You know, even if a client isn't super easy to work with, like, I'll still make the most of it, and you know, crack jokes, and you know, make them feel as comfortable as we can get them, and just like, have a good time at the end of the day. We're just out there to produce, you know, happy things. So yeah.
So how do you promote your service, and how do you get the word out that this is what you do and this is what you're passionate about?
So I'm heavy on Instagram. I continue to update, and honestly, that's something that I'm looking in the future to be more on a day-to-day basis with. Currently, it's been probably at least twice or three times a week. I'd like to update that to a more of a daily basis. But really just posting on Instagram and linking to my website, lloydfisherphoto.com, as well as YouTube, getting into that. And it's really one of these things where I'm so like multifaceted, as like I love like just being in the woods, and I like getting dressed up super nice, and then I like, you know, going snowboarding. I have a Gemini mind, so I'm just always doing different stuff, pretty much, but like in a productive way at the same time. But yeah, basically, to answer your question, Instagram at Lloyd Fisher Photo, and lloydfisherphoto.com is where I'll produce the most content directed around my photography.
I gotcha.
Yeah.
Awesome, man. Was there anything else that you want to mention to everybody, or
Absolutely.
talk about yourself?
Well, I'd like to thank you guys for taking the time this evening. I'm really happy we got to connect with this, you know,
Beautiful scenery.
got perfect blue shirts for the blue scenery we got. Oh, and I got a blue suit on too. So that worked out great. Yeah, man, I just wish everyone success in the future. Let's make Duluth, Minnesota the greatest it can be. And really, I'd just like to ask you to, whatever you have to produce to the world, to bring your light forward. And you know, let's just make life the best it can possibly be. Yeah.
That's awesome, man.
Great
All right.
message.
For
I
sure.
appreciate you coming out here.
Absolutely, my pleasure. Thanks, guys.
Thank you.